Hey guys, Doug here. I want to show you something I've been playing around with this week. So, Nvidia came out with last week the beta version of their software called Canvas. Now, if you played around with Canvas before, I'm sure you'll already know how awesome it is, but it just got even cooler because they added the panoramic feature. So now this allows you to take very basic colors. Blue is sky, green is the ground. You have this other color for the mountains. It allows you to paint in really broad shapes, and then Canvas will then fill it in. So this is pretty fantastic for matte painters, especially. I think I come from a animation CG background, so worked on a lot of animated features. Did a ton of matte painting work for Book of Life, Scooby-Doo, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the biggest things that we always that took a lot of time were those skies. Now with this software, you can go through and paint skies very quickly, and even change the styles, so time of day, all that stuff, very quickly generated. But it's a realistic image. It's not cartoon, which that's where I come from, CG cartoons. So that's where Stable Diffusion comes in. So over on Hugging Face, they have a bunch of image models that are based on it's all been trained on Studio Ghibli movies, classic Disney, CG, modern Disney, et cetera, et cetera. And they've made some free models that you can go ahead and download and play around with. So that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to load in right here. So that is the realistic version of our panoramic, and I'm going to change the width and height so that we're going to use the whole image. It's going to be lower resolution, but we'll upscale it later. We're going to click interrogate clip, and Stable Diffusion is going to then basically tell us what the image is. So we're going to change a couple prompts here. One of the things that we're changing is going to be 360-degree spherical photography. And I'm going to get rid of a little tagline in the back. And then we're going to add in Ghibli style in the front. So really quickly, boom, you have a Studio Ghibli painterly style of that realistic image. We can push it even further by changing the denoise settings and the prompt strength settings with this CFG scale. But basically just go through and we can just play, just moving sliders up and down until we're getting something, that we think is cool. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going through and just trying to find something I think is cool. While I'm doing this, I'll get on my soapbox real quick and talk about AI art. So these models right here that I'm going through and playing around with, these are obviously, they're free, they're open source, but they're based on copyrighted images. I personally think if you build a model using copyrighted images without the permission of the artist, or even if it's not copyrighted, it needs to have permission to use and train your data. If you don't get that permission, I consider that theft. But I don't consider Stable Diffusion an evil tool that is coming to rob artists from their work. I really think that if it's used properly, for example, we could use this on a feature film, load in all of our own AI, our own art department art, and train our own model based on our own original art for that movie. Then you're allowed to go through and iterate so fast. Like you can see all these images right here. These were all done within an hour. You can see the Spider-Verse style here. It doesn't really understand what mountains are, so it just makes it buildings, but cool clouds. This is the Arcane style. We have the Studio Ghibli style, cartoonish more on the front. And you're able to just go through and just generate all these really great pieces of work that, still need to go in, and I'd still go in and, paint on top of this, but it's already pretty darn good. So here I've just up-resed it really quick. So now we're working with 6K images instead of 1K. Again, AI up-res, that's pretty great. And then I'm loading it into Nuke just to kind of show you guys in context. But this is a tool that I've built on for Book of Life. We use this for all of our matte paintings in the background, compositing, and it just loads in a spherical image like we got from Stable Diffusion, and you can plug a camera in and then see what your world looks like. So here I'm going to plug in all of the ones that I generated before. So let's just line it up. And we're going to load it up onto a switch. Perfect. All right, let's just plug it in. And I have some color correct nodes there too to kind of, give us a little bit more fine-tooth control. But here we can just throw a viewer on the bottom, and we have a 3D viewer on the top. And here we can just start looking around in that world. So here's all the Spider-Verse quote-unquote style here, which I find it very funny. It doesn't know what mountains are, apparently, only what the New York City skyline is. So that's what it replaced the mountains with. But we've got these really cool clouds here. We've got, some, I think these are honestly a little bit less successful than the more painterly landscapes. My personal favorite were some of the Ghibli styles that I'll show you in a second. But as you can see here, these are pretty fantastic just right out of the gate. So your art department could feed in all of the original art that is being done for your movie, for a studio movie, and you can make your own image model and then just let your matte painters go in and just start playing with styles. Here, we got to fix a seam. That's pretty standard with all matte paintings, I can tell you from experience. But you have really cool clouds. You've got really cool textures that you're, kind of just getting for free just because you're playing around and you're just generating this art very, very fast. And I personally like to work. I don't like to get too precious with art when you first start it. I want it to kind of just generate a whole bunch of images and then kind of see what I like, and then paint on top of that, or modify that, or whatever. Just that's where the human interaction starts coming in. But I think this right here is probably going to be a bit of a game changer when it comes to the CG industry right away. I think the ability to go in and quickly generate a whole bunch of different skies. Like here, we have a very cartoonish sky right here. I think that's going to be really, really fantastic. I mean, that's pretty great. You can make a brush out of the clouds there if you wanted to. You could but it gives you an idea of a cool color palette you can start your skies with. That symbiosis between the AI tool and the artist, I think, is when you're going to start getting really, really awesome art. And that's really what the whole end goal here is. I'm firmly against people using AI art, generators like Stable Diffusion to steal the styles or the work from other people. Models based on stolen artwork, I think is just wrong and should not. I think it just gives the whole tool a really bad name. But I think using the tool to take your existing art and then enhance your workflow to make more beautiful art quicker, I think that's going to open the door for just some really amazing creative work going forward. So there's a lot of things about this workflow that are still very, just like Nvidia's Canvas tool, still very beta. There's a lot of things I'd like to see added to Nvidia Canvas that would make this workflow much better. But I mean, right out of the gate, I'm kind of blown away with it. And so I wanted to share it with you all. So hope you enjoy some of these really pretty images, and I would love to see what you guys do. So let me see.